Are you ready? Can Crush Us. It don't really get no better than this the podcast that you're looking for if you're really heavy into wrestling. Hosted by the Mark. Energy that's so amazing. Gotta keep it entertaining. Rep the Can Crusher Nation. Yeah, you know what's going down in the ring. Lights out when you hit a ding ding. Knock 'em out like boom bada bing. Hold it down, you can crown me the king. Got a shout out to the Miz and Duke the Dumpster. We choke slamming everybody, power driving, hit 'em with a face buster. Yeah, this the show you need and it ain't no need for waiting. Mark, hold it down for the Can Crusher Nation. All about wrestling and keep it entertaining. Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Time to break 'em, let's go. Yeah, Can Crushers. Yeah, Can Crushers. Let's go.
What's up, guys? This is Jared Fritz, official for the NWA, and you're getting Ref Fit with the Can Crushers Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Mark the Mark Martinez, and this week, we're going to get a little roughhouse. We're going to go derbying, we're going to wrestle, we're going to do a lot of crazy-ass shit with my guest, Bashley Bones. She's coming from the roller derby aspect into professional wrestling. Listen, roller derby, I'm going to say this and I might get punched in the face later on, but in my young era of days, it was on TV, it was rough and tumble, and I don't see it a lot now, so I do know a little bit about it. I have some questions for Bashley, how she transitions from roller derby into wrestling, and what else she has planned to essentially take over professional wrestling, and yeah, all of that cool stuff. But you know what we have to do first. We get them out of the way early, we get them out of the way quick, because we have to pay the bills here on Can Crushers. Guys, make sure you check out Collar and Elbow. Hats, hoodies, tees, all the cool stuff that Al Snow and the Hooligans have down at Collar and Elbow. You can buy it all up and use our promo code CANCRUSHERS. The shirts are amazing. The sweats are amazing. The sweatshirts are even better. I love it all. Use Can Crushers, capital C and Can, capital C and Crushers, to save yourself 10% off the entire order. Don't forget, if you're looking for a Rock shirt, a Cody shirt, a Roman shirt, hell, anybody that's got drafted is going to probably have a new shirt now. Go to our affiliate code with WWE. It's down in the show notes, and we're very transparent. Sometimes you will get a discount. Sometimes you will not get a discount. You will support the show whenever you use it. So if you know you want to buy something from WWEshop.com, just go over and use our affiliate code, not promo code, Mark, our affiliate code, and you'll help support the show. Guys, you know I'm up early ass in the morning. I really am. In 4 months now, I've been living off of Dubby. Dubby is that energy drink that no carbonation. I'm getting away from that. No calories. It's no crash. It's so good. I love Dubby. Beach and Peach is going to be the one that I go with. I know on the weekends you hear me and Jenks kind of talking about, am I getting this, am I getting that? No, I'm going to stick with Beach and Peach, but there is a ton of different flavors, and we'd like to offer you a 10% discount on all of those as well. And if you're just willing to try it for the first time, hey, you want to give it a shot? They give you a shaker. They give you a couple different flavors, a one-off, and it's $20, and you'll still get a discount off of that at 10% by using Can Crushers. So go over and check out Dubby. Don't forget, we have merch as well at CrowdMade. Just go to CrowdMade, type in Can Crushers. We have hoodies, t-shirts, tanks. More to come here in the near future. I got an email recently about that, so I'm super stoked about that. Where can you join us? Where can you listen? Where do you get your ear holes filled with Can Crushers? Pretty much anywhere. Spotify, iHeart, Stitcher, Boxcast, iTunes, IMDb, Podurama, which right now they have amazing deals right now on Podurama. They are seamless. If you're listening from the app on your phone, you want to carry it over to your laptop, your iPad, your normal computer, it's seamless across the board. It does the same thing with Androids as well. Check out all their discounts at Podurama. That is where I've been listening to my podcast recently, and I seem to really love that app. What else? Oh, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X. We're on there. Join the conversations. If you want to be spotlighted, like my guest this week, Bashley Bones, send us an email. cancrusher69@gmail.com. We'll get you scheduled. or DM us on any of our socials. We'll get something going there. I love hearing the stories about independent wrestlers, how they got into professional wrestling, what their goals are, and all of that cool stuff. There's always an awesome story from an independent wrestler, and that's what I'm waiting to hear right around the corner from Bashley Bones.
Hey, this is Mariah May, the glamour, but you knew that. And you're listening to Can Crushers.
Welcome back, Can Crushers fans. You heard how excited I was to talk to Bashley Bones because there's so much I want to know about her journey in professional wrestling. But, as I said in the intro, roller derby has always piqued my interest. I got to know more. Bashley, how the hell are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, thanks.
So, we will get to wrestling because when I was younger, I'm 47, okay, I saw roller derby. It was on ESPN late at night, this, that, or the other. What piqued your interest there? I need to know more about roller derby. I understand the scoring and everything, but it is, I hate to say this because you might punch me through the phone, but it's a fledgling sport though, isn't it?
You know, the thing is with roller derby, it kind of keeps peaking and then it's like a roller coaster, really. It was big, I'd say like the 70s, kind of into the 80s.
Yeah.
It was more like wrestling on roller skates then. And so it's kind of evolved throughout the years. Like it did go away for a bit. And I don't know how much history you know, but a group of women in Texas decided to bring roller derby back. But now they brought it back in a way that it could be played more widely across like the country, the world. Because when it originally was out and about, everything was banked track, right?
Right.
You saw the track that had, it was steep and they did, fast skate and all of that. Well, the problem is those bank tracks run about $12,000. Like that's starting out. Then you've got to think you have to have the facility to hold one, or you have to have the means to tear it down and move it around, right?
Okay, yeah,
Sounds
for sure.
like
Yeah, it's like it's essentially made out of like a basketball court. Like it's wooden, right?
I am not certain what the bank tracks are totally made out of. I mean, it's a lot. It's got metal on the top, like railing. They're a lot.
Okay.
So what these women did is they actually created a game that could be more easily played on flat ground. And so for a while it blew up again. And as far as myself getting into it, so I was born and raised in California, right in the middle. I had a little boutique for a little while and had some girls come in asking to hang flyers up. We're familiar with that in wrestling. We're always trying to hang up flyers for our shows. So I was like, well, of course, but like, what's this about? Because I had been an avid rollerblader actually most of my life. So they went ahead and hung up the flyers and I definitely took a look. I did go and watch that. They call them bouts instead of games. I did go watch and I was hooked from that point on. So I made the switch from rollerblades to doing quad skates.
Was it the physicality part of it? The competition essentially part of it?
I've actually never been super, super competitive. Like my siblings were super competitive growing up. And I was just kind of like, I won or whatever, I lost. For me, it was just everything about it. So when I first saw roller derby, it was still a show. It's an actual legit game, don't get me wrong, but they were doing themed bouts or we were still wearing, fishnets and booty shorts and
that's everything that was on
really
TV. Yes.
Time, which it's kind of strayed away from that now.
Okay.
So I feel like they're just they took something that was a big show and they now want it to be a very serious sport, which is cool as well. But when it got into that aspect, it just kind of wasn't for me anymore.
It was the 80s wrestling then, with the caricatures and this and that.
That's what I'm more about, but this, hardcore, like, they want to be ranked number one in the world. Like, everybody has to wear a strict uniform. Like, that type of roller derby. There's we actually went to a friend's bout a couple weeks ago, my husband and I was trying to help him understand the rules. And he was just like, wow, there are so many rules. And it's literally like a book. And so at that point, like, it just kind of, it wasn't really fulfilling my soul anymore. But I definitely had a good time with it.
Does that kind of lead into the path for professional wrestling then? We're going to probably jump all over the place now, but does that lead into professional wrestling?
It did. So I actually was still playing derby when I got into wrestling. I feel like it prepared me for it, the contact, my body. So when I first started playing roller derby, I was barely like 110 pounds, soaking wet. Like, that's my roller derby number. And as a wrestler, I carried that over. And so people will ask me, what does the 110 stand for? That was my roller derby number because that was my weight when I started playing. And a lot of people kind of laughed at me about that, really.
That's cool, though. I figured the 110 on all your stuff had something to do with roller derby, but clearly didn't know it was your weight. That's cool. I like that little callback.
At that time. So, I've been on quite a few now, bulked up a bit. So I definitely feel roller derby helped me do that. I learned better about, because I was always a decent eater, but I learned about eating, more
correctly,
to build muscle and not just to be lean and healthy.
Right.
So my little story about I actually just fell into wrestling. Never in a million years would I have thought it was something I could do, or did I grow up wanting to be a professional wrestler. I was a huge fan. I grew up with boy cousins, and, that's what we did is we watched wrestling. We did wrestling moves on the trampoline. We had parents that took us to see, we got to see events. But I just, I never would have thought it was something I could do. As a kid, I wanted to be like an actress or fashion designer, costume designer.
Which you're fulfilling some of that too, right?
I am now. Yeah, funny enough, that's how it's going. So I was actually driving down the road one day. I had moved out to Clarksville, Tennessee. Heard an ad on the radio for Tried and True Pro Wrestling doing a bombshell promoter girl search. And instantly I'm like, what? They have a wrestling promotion here? I love wrestling. I could be a promoter girl. So the wheels started turning. I went ahead and did that search, the little fun events they had and all that. Ended up being one of the 5. And then they found out I play roller derby. So Crimson, who was the owner of the company at the time, or Anthony Mayweather.
Yep.
And then we had coaches Jeremiah Plunkett and Tom Latimer. So they found out I did derby, and we're kind of like, oh, we have a training academy. And then my brain all of a sudden is like, what? I could do this? So, that was kind of just, seed planted. Derby wasn't really fulfilling me anymore. Because I definitely had to switch over. There's no time, too much on my body to do both.
So let's talk about, I'm going to wrap back all around to some stuff here in a minute, but now you brought up training. Let's talk about training. You go to Tried and True. And by the way, you've named amazing trainers, by the way. Amazing trainers.
So fortunate. Yeah, of course, I just kind of fell into this and exactly in the right spot.
Did you, no disrespect to them, but did you know who they were? Like, did you know of indie? Of indie wrestling at all? So you had no clue that they were amazing?
No, I had absolutely no clue who they were. Growing up where I did, I never went to an indie wrestling show ever. I didn't even hear about them or see them. It was all like we went to WWE, or back then, of course, WWF stuff. So I had no clue.
So radio ads do work. Big communication guys over here, by the way. So
Yeah.
radio ads do work, folks.
Yeah,
Look at this.
absolutely. How I ended up in all this.
So let's talk about your training. So did you go to like everybody knows, your first one's a freebie or whatever, or after Tom or Crimson talked to you. Did you watch the first one? Did you participate? Were you excited going into it? I'm throwing a million questions at you at once, but it's your story. You'll be able to tell it how you want. And how did you feel after if you participated?
So, I pretty much just decided to do it and jumped right into training. I didn't do any kind of trial or anything. I just started beginner's training. I'm trying to remember the exact. So my very first class that I started with, I'm pretty sure it was only me and one other female. Otherwise, it was all guys.
That's the norm. That's sad to say because we wave the flag for female wrestling here for sure, but that's usually the norm. I hate to say it like that.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. But, and even she was even quite a bit bigger than me. So there's just, I get that aspect of having like nobody my size really to work with. So that was always interesting during training. But we figured it out and made it work. A few of the guys were really great to work with me.
Did you ever have that moment of, oh man, what have I gotten myself into?
I mean, it's that moment that you're about to go do a superplex or take a backdrop. Sure, it might flash through. But for the most part, like never once did I really think think back on it. Like I was, from the moment I started, I was just about it and loved it.
You had that, the physicality, the rough and tough with, the boys growing up and, the derby and everything. Yeah, that's fine. You wait till mine go off here in a second.
Yeah. So I definitely grew up in a family where like my brother and sister both played sports. My mom was all about like watching sports. I grew up watching hockey and baseball. And so it wasn't really anything super out of the norm for me. I did just grow up kind of rough and tumble and playing with boy cousins and fishing and hunting.
Right. Yeah. How's the parents take it first and foremost when you're like, hey, I'm going to do a roller derby and then transition into, yeah, I'm completely away from roller derby. I'm getting into professional wrestling now.
So I actually did lose my mom about a couple years ago, but she was one of my biggest fans. With the derby, like basically my family, like extended family, they laughed at me and said, you're this big holding up like their pinky.
Right.
You're going to do what? And then my mom was just always, like I said, my biggest fan. She was always pushing me to do what I wanted. She never once told me I couldn't do anything. She was always the mom who was like, if you put your mind to it, you can do it. So from the get-go, she was like, this is awesome. She actually ended up playing a little bit of roller derby, and then she was a ref for quite a few years and got real big into it with me.
Wait, did you and mom ever go against each other, or was she on your squad?
No, she was actually on the team that I first started on. We never went against each other. No.
Roughhousing with mom too. All of a sudden.
Yeah, no, I couldn't have. I couldn't
Right.
So our relationship, like almost, I was like the mom, if you think about it. Like, you know, she was my little, had to break her out of her shell when I got her into roller derby. And, you know, I never once could have thought about like hitting my mom on, you know what I mean?
No, clearly. Yeah. Same story. Like, my mom was passed a couple years ago, and I kind of pseudo got into wrestling. I'm like, wonder if mom would, like, be a manager or something, and I would turn on her. No, I would never be able to do that to my mother. Yeah.
No, I couldn't. Like, I could just, I don't know. Like, I was always worried about her and, you know, wanting her to make sure she stayed on her skates. I couldn't knock her off myself. But it was kind of the same when and actually one of the reasons we never played together actually or anything is because I had moved out to Tennessee and she started playing around that time that I moved. So I kind of like left my home team, but I left my mom in my place. And she ended up reffing for them and really loving everybody and kind of growing into part of the team there.
It really is like you were the mom. You know, she should have, I'm not speaking ill will or mean or anything, but normally the mom passes it down. You passed roller derby down to the mom, which is a great story. Ah.
Yeah, and really, it was so great for her. It kind of broke her out of her shell. She was always someone who was a little bit introverted and had trouble going out, like, you know, even attempting to make friends or talk to people or anything like that. And just derby really helped her out. We did some fun Las Vegas conventions, and so I got to meet up with her.
This is why I love having independent stars come on, because these stories you don't get anywhere else. And I always have dad moments, like in air quotes. This is one of those stories. This is one of those family moments that you're not going to get from anybody else. So thank you for sharing that. That's amazing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and I love, you know, sharing her memory too.
Yeah.
It was really hard losing her. We were super close.
Right. I just got the chills, and you're tearing me up now, Bashley. You are not supposed to be doing that. You're Bashley Bones, right?
Yeah, we could go back in, but anyway. So with wrestling, it was the same. You know, she just from the get-go was all about it for me. She actually came out and lived with me that year that I was training. So that was pretty crazy. Like, I came home one night with like a busted eye and you know, I'm like, oh, I'm fine, Mom, I'm fine.
Right. You shouldn't be doing this.
But see, she never ever said that. Like, my mom, no. She was just like, make sure I'm okay, check me for concussion, you know, you drove yourself home, what?
Right. Back to training again, what was the hardest thing for you in training to get? Was it, because everybody doesn't believe, you know, fans, how hard it is to run the ropes or to get the psychology. I
mean, for me, the absolute hardest part, honestly, was just trying to remember all of the names of moves so that I could do them fast enough so that it was like you say a move and it registered and I was reacting. Because growing up, even though we played around with it, like besides like body slam, suplex, I just didn't really know the names of a lot of stuff, you know, like DDT.
You just did them, right?
Yeah, like, I mean, I knew the finishers. I knew like some of the big names, like some of those big moves and things. But beyond that, I just had like no idea. Like, I had no idea what hip toss or an arm drag, like those things were foreign to me. So that was actually something I had to make almost like flashcards with like the name of a move and then what it was on the back. Like, I legit did this, and it helped me so much.
Did you write wording down? Did you write wording down, or did you try to draw a picture of an arm drag? Because you're also an artist. Okay.
Like I would be, you know, like arm drag, like left arm over, you know, like, or hip toss, like kind of just giving myself little, like, how I would do this. But I mean, pictures probably would have been a little better, but the wording even just helped me.
I was gonna
But
say,
it was really something I struggled with.
yeah, and it could be anything, really, really. Yeah, I've talked to wrestlers from all over saying, the psychology is rough, the ropes are horrible, the pain is bad. It fluctuates. So
Yeah.
that's
For
cool.
me, pain, it doesn't really, like, I have such a high pain tolerance that it's almost scary. Like, the day that I said how I had split, so it was like the top of my eye, like right on that little bone underneath your eyebrow.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened is we were at training doing butterfly suplexes. And I was working with, I don't know if you know who Rush Freeman is.
Yep.
Okay, so actually all of those guys who are on NWA right now were in my second beginner's training class. It's wild. So anyway,
That's
like,
awesome. Oh my
I
God.
grew up in wrestling with those guys, but Rush and I were working together as partners that day. And Plunkett was our coach at that time. And he says, I think maybe we should switch things up with this one. Are like, well, we've been working together fine all day, we're fine. We're going to do this. So I didn't quite get him over. He didn't quite jump to get over enough. And he ended up basically taking a back bump on my face.
Just crushing you. Literally just crushing you.
Yeah. So then, like, it split that, my skin open there on the bone. And I have some pretty fun photos of, like, Coach Plunkett trying to fix me up. And then freaking Rush takes, I didn't know it was alcohol. I thought he got, like, peroxide, to clean it. This man straight pours alcohol.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So then I had liquid bandage, which was kind of a staple for me, and that was not even holding it. So I ended up driving myself to the Dollar General while holding like a towel on my head or a handkerchief, whatever I had, and going in to get super glue and then super gluing myself in the parking lot before I drove home.
You never thought, hey, this might need a stitch or a staple or anything? You're like, nah, screw
I'm
it.
not the type to go get stitches unless it's an absolute, like, this has to happen. Like, I have another fun story if we want to get into that at some point. But when I had to get stitches.
Yeah, you can get into it right after I ask you this, because how often did you have to super glue it then? Like every day? Because that's nothing that heals quick.
No, I mean, I literally super glued it that night, and then I took really good care of it. And I always say this, I heal like Wolverine. So literally by the time the super, I do. Like, I freaking do. By the time the super glue had started to wear off a little, like, it was already, starting to heal. I was good.
Damn, girl. All right. If you had to go get stitches or whatever, I need to hear the story. Did you lose a limb and then you sewed it on for a little? What did you do?
Okay, so this is a fun story. I took a class at the gym when I was still living in Tennessee. I was over at Crunch, and I did like a little weight class. So they have like a time where I almost wish we were on video right now so I could, show you this, but you're going to have to picture it. All right. So they have you laying down basically in like a sit-up position, but then you have a weight that you're lifting like from your head up and back down.
Okay, I'm picturing it, and it's not looking good already, but okay.
Yes. And then, so now picture that this is a 10-pound barbell that's been dipped in plastic and my hands are sweaty. And I'm holding it on the outside, trying to do. Yeah, well, at some point it slips on my face.
Right across the forehead, nose. Which one was it this time?
I got super lucky about the way this fell. It actually just barely missed my nose and ended up hitting my mouth.
Oh my God, your teeth then.
Yep. Teeth actually sunk into my bottom lip. and created like a big old hole in my lip. It didn't pierce through the outside, so you couldn't see or anything, but instantly my mouth is just filled with blood.
Oh
So,
my God.
yeah, the instructor, it's, oh my God, like takes me, we get an ice pack, we get some like paper towels, but they're just filling up with blood. Like I have to make a call to my now husband, who's my boyfriend at the time, and be like, can you leave work and drive me to an urgent care or the ER?
Oh,
like,
you weren't tough enough that time to drive yourself, though, were you?
I couldn't. Like, there was
No,
blood.
I'm kidding.
I couldn't even move my hand away, from my mouth. But I was like, don't panic. There's just too much blood to drive myself. And he's like, what?
Right, that's a phone call. Like my wife would call me, hey, do you want to come to the store and pick me up? I have a towel wrapped around my finger. I cut it on the slicer or something. And I'm like, yep. What?
Yeah, I was like, it's going to need stitches. I cannot super glue the inside of my mouth. No, yeah. So, yeah, that was a good time.
It sounds amazing. It sounds freaking amazing. I love getting beaten head by a barbell. That's great. Growing up, can you give me some of your favorite? Jesus, this went downhill quick. Craziness. Good, by the way. Growing up, can you give me some of your favorites that you liked, or did you really just like doing the moves? Like, you watched wrestling, though, right?
No, I definitely had favorites. So I know for me, it's always fun because it's a little bit off the wall one. But I was obsessed with Tatanka growing up. He was the first one I was ever. Like, I always loved, like, Sable, too, just that. Tatanka, I don't know why, as a kid, just, like, the whole, like, native music and his dance, like, just always got me going, I was like, yeah!
I give you props. I give you props. Well, not one of my favorites, but I enjoyed... Listen, his song back then, was a banger. You know, you got that, and you come out and dancing around.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, I love, Undertaker and then, like, the Hardy Boys. But, like, for whatever reason, like, growing up, it was always, like, as a little girl, Tatanka was it for me.
This is a question I really love to ask on the show. Who is Bashley Bones? If you can give me 3 wrestlers that you beg, borrow, or steal from, because, listen, it's wrestling, right? Who is Bashley essentially about?
It's kind of like I don't feel like I've really stolen from too many wrestlers per se. I don't know. We might have to circle back to this one because I had a few characters, when I kind of started this, but they weren't really wrestling characters. And now right now that you're asking me, like my brain is not
fried,
computing right. I feel like it was kind of more on like the pinup style, like kind of like a Betty Page, like. But also then I go back and I watch like movies like Whip It, more roller derby stuff than wrestling.
Okay, no, you could, yeah. And if that's who I said wrestlers, but essentially who's your character built off of is the simpler version of that. So yeah, it's I understand it's roller derby, yes, but I didn't know if you pulled from anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really feel like I have per se. I mean, I've learned from a lot of people. I've been fortunate to meet a lot of great wrestlers and learned things. But in the beginning, it was more of a kind of a pinup style roller derby, badass thing. If that makes sense. I wanted to be kind of like a little of both.
Yeah. No, I do see it. I do. I see 2 prevalent when I'm watching some of your clips and stuff that I do a little bit of homework just so I can have some meat and potatoes for this question. Mm-hmm. I see Paige / Saraya in you a little bit because, she's rough and tumble, and I know those are horrible ways, but you understand, rough and tumble, but she can be also very technical. And then Natty Neidhart as well. Those are, when I saw some clips, I'm like, okay, that's who she's going to say, because I always put it in my head how people are going to answer the question.
I actually don't even know who Natty is.
Really?
You said, what's her last name?
Natalia Neidhart?
Oh, Natalia. Okay.
Sorry, I said Natty Neidhart, but yeah, Natalia. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. It just, my brain didn't register Natalia. I was like, Natty.
Yes.
All right.
That's all right.
Okay. Yeah, I do. But a Paige I could see. I definitely, her movie came out right around the time I was training and stuff. So, I mean, it could have been, honestly, somebody I did unconsciously pull stuff from. But yeah, I didn't really sit down and just, consciously pull anything from wrestlers I could think of.
You are yourself, and you hear this in wrestling across the board. Bashley Bones is yourself multiplied by 100 or a million, or like all the trainers tell you, right? That really is you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends, if I'm good guy, bad guy,
Well, yeah.
But definitely it's just aspects of myself.
Do you do a lot of tape study, and do you go back and watch stuff maybe like the 70s, 80s, and just Attitude Era and forward, or is it just really, and I know you said this a million times, you're like, Mark, shut up, I've answered this, but is it really just your incorporation of what you want to do, or do you say, man, I really do like Sherry Martel, or I like what Mickey James did, or anything like that?
And for me, so I did a lot of case studies more just through training, especially because having trainers like Plunkett, he is super old school, technical. So he had us watch a lot of really great stuff. And it was a lot of 80s, 90s Attitude Era.
Nice.
For myself, currently, I actually study a lot of promos. I've been really trying to up my promo game. I haven't so much been watching a lot of matches of that era. It's been the promos.
Who are you grabbing from the promos then?
I've watched Roddy Piper, Hulk. I did actually go do a lot of watching of Mickey, and it's wild. If you have not sat and watched her promos from when she first started to now, it's wild.
Yeah.
They're night and day. So it's really almost like I could really learn from her now once.
Yeah. Piper and Hulk, clearly two of the best you can grab from. So
yeah. I'm trying to do that excitement, and they kind of dip back down, and then that excitement again. So they were, definitely a couple that someone mentioned that I should watch for what I'm trying to get.
Right. All right, let's take a break from wrestling and do some nerd stuff with some random questions thrown involved. So, day off of no wrestling, no training, you're really just going to be a bum. What do you like to do? What's Bashley like to get into and call it a relaxing day?
Okay, it's hard because I don't have relaxing days. I literally do some kind of work almost every day. So an absolute Bashley relaxing day is we'll say I totally take a day off, which is rare, but it does happen. I'd probably make some breakfast, walk my dogs, read a book, take a nap.
The norm.
Make some more food. I like to eat. I like to cook food.
What's your favorite thing? What's your favorite thing to cook?
Probably favorite thing ever, I'd say breakfast burritos. It's kind of just my go-to, the thing I've been making since I was 9.
Do you love breakfast for supper?
I love breakfast anytime,
yeah. That a girl.
But that's why it's if there's not a lot going on in the refrigerator and I'm what can we make for dinner? And I'm oh, I can throw together some burrito stuff. I'll even make my own homemade tortillas if need be.
Oh, wow. I'm coming to visit then. I'm definitely coming. Our go-to breakfast is the stuffed waffles, with either fruit or whatever. we could have those 5 nights, 10 times. You know, it's just, we are a breakfast family too. So I love that you're breakfast.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, random questions. And let's start from the question from our past guest. And here it is.
Hey, what's up, guys? Cam Dakota here. If you haven't seen my interview, go check it out. Obviously, especially you, who I'm about to ask this question to, you little goofy. If you had your own action figure, what would it look like and what would it come with?
So, I mean, I actually have a Slam Buddy that I really love, and I feel like my action figure would look a lot similar to it. And it definitely would have to have a pair of skates on a skate strap.
Okay.
And then I would probably change up the outfit, though. I just actually made myself some new gear that is more derby style. So, like, shorts with a belt and more of a tank style with my number on it. It's black and teal.
The wrestlers, you know, they definitely weren't LJNs. Mattels or whatever, they had clothes that you could, trust me because I had them, that you could interswap. So, you know, you have this figure, and then you could sell accessories for your figure all the time then.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it. Good call. All right, now this is a random questions.
Okay.
If you were to die and come back as a person or thing, what would you want to come back as?
So, as a person or a thing, or specifically a thing?
A person or a thing. You could pick or choose. This is your question. You can spin it however you want.
Or a thing. So, I mean, then I could say animal, right?
Correct.
I think I would be a tortoise, so I could just live a really long time and see a lot of things and just be chill and...
All right. See, I love this because you get to know about people with these stupid ass questions that I have. A tortoise does live to, I don't know, 1 trillion years essentially. I like the chill part of it though.
Get to like chill and eat grass and like they don't have a lot to worry about.
With your doggo in the back, I thought you'd say, because I always say, I tell everybody, my 2 mutts have the life. I would definitely come back as one of them. So.
Yeah, it's like you have to be very specific, though, and be like, I want to be this dog, you know, because some dogs don't have it too nice. But now, like tortoises, I mean, people will them, you know.
Yeah.
The ones at the zoo look like they have a great life. They don't really have any predators. Like,
they have a pond and grass. What else do they need? They're happy.
Yeah, I like water.
I don't. That's maybe why I won't turn it. If there was a sandwich named Bashley Bones, what would be on the sandwich?
Let's see. So, definitely would have to be like some spicy barbecue sauce. Man, I don't know what kind of meat would go on. What kind of protein are we putting on this Bashley Bone sandwich?
Rib meat.
Red? Yeah. Maybe like, I was actually super excited to find tri-tip because it's like a California cut. And it was kind of not exactly the cut I'm used to, but I made it like Santa Maria style.
Okay.
So let's go with like a yummy like tri-tip sandwich with some barbecue and maybe some horsey sauce and some like peppers and onion. Yeah. Sounds good.
Are you a fan of cilantro? Because I would want to throw cilantro on that now all of a sudden.
Sure, throw it on. I love cilantro.
Okay. Last stupid question. What's your guilty pleasure?
Eating cinnamon powdered donuts.
You lost me there.
Those Hostess powdered cinnamon ones. Those are like I don't do a lot of sweets or junk food or anything, but like after a late night match and I have to drive home a few hours, I'm getting like an iced coffee and a package of those cinnamon donuts.
There's just so much. It's almost like doing the cinnamon challenge on those donuts. Do you like cinnamon that much? Like there's a lot of cinnamon. Oh,
I love it.
You lost me. All right. Back to wrestling. Behind the curtain, who gave you the best advice and what was it? In case anybody, in training or little ones are listening, what's the best advice you gotten?
That's a tough one. It's hard because I've just gotten so much good advice. I don't really know what the best advice is.
Throw a couple out then. That's all right. Yeah, again, because you look at who you were trained by. You weren't trained by me or Bob Smith. You have noteworthy, amazing people.
Coach Tom always told us, different flavors of ice cream, basically, is like your wrestling style. Like, not everybody's is going to be the same. Don't get frustrated if you can't do something that, not everybody's going to do everything. And you have to put your own spin on things. So he was always about that, like different flavors of ice cream. And that was a really good one.
Because it was food and you're like, oh my God, I need some ice cream now after practice. Right?
I mean, I like banana splits after training, but yeah.
Excellent. Hardest question I ask, and then we'll go back to some fun story ones. What needs to change in professional wrestling? If you could wave your magic wand, what needs to go away?
Not so much like go away. I want more of the indie promotions to network and work together.
Yes.
It frustrates the hell out of me that I had to turn down 4 dates around this area all on the same night. It's like, why can't they network and be like, hey, I'll run shows Friday, you run shows Saturday. We could share talent. We could bring in big talent and share them, and they're already out here. That's less travel, less money for a room.
Yep.
To me, I don't understand why everybody in the same area runs on the same nights.
I've said that for years too, Bashley. I've said that for years. There's enough money in the pot for everybody if we're going to get down to that. But
let's go to how NWA is doing the territories right now. I love it. I love kind of bringing other promotions together and feeding off of each other. Like, if I had my own promotion, what I would do is say 1 month I might do where I bring in all the wrestlers of another promotion, and it's like my promotion versus theirs,
like a takeover.
But we're networking, and I think that would be something I would do often, and then be hit up the other promoters in the area. Hey, what nights are you? Send me the nights you're running so I can run not on those nights as much as possible.
Right.
That's one of the things I feel seems so simple, and it just doesn't seem to happen anywhere.
It's the same way in Pennsylvania too, just to let you know. It's the same way in Pennsylvania. It seems like it's a giant pissing match. And then you're just...
Tennessee, Ohio, it's just, it's Kentucky.
Yeah.
It's literally the same dates I have to turn down 4 times every month. And then I'll have 2 free Saturdays, and nobody's running on those days.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks a lot. You brought up something that I wasn't going to ask, but is this something that maybe an ownership down the line? Is that something you want to do?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I haven't actually, I don't think I've told anybody really, publicly, but I have plans.
Okay. All right.
I'm learning all the things I've helped with and been part of so many promotions already. I've been super fortunate to get to be behind the scenes of a lot of really big promotions.
Nice. And you'll run on Tuesdays, so you're not running with anybody else, right? I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, it would be more Friday or Sunday,
Yeah. Everything doesn't have to happen on Saturday night.
Yeah.
What's your...
I love being able to book a loop and do a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
No. I love your idea. To take it from boom, boom, boom. Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, or all of Tennessee.
Also, from some of the ladies I've talked to, and well, some of the guys too, I've heard that Japan works a lot like that, where promotions work together and they bring wrestlers in, and literally you can go and work like 4 shows, 4 or 5 shows while you're there for different promotions, but they basically like share talent, and then they're running on different nights.
Yep. That's something indies should do. They really should not be. I understand the money part. I really do, Bashley. I really do. But they really shouldn't be in that much competition because essentially we're all in the same business, right?
I feel like by trying to be in competition, it's not making any one company any richer. It's basically, you're just spreading out all that money.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
What was your favorite storyline when you were younger that you really engulfed? What was your favorite one?
I honestly can't remember specific storylines. So for me, I don't know. I remember a lot of stuff regarding Undertaker, but nothing super, super specific.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
No, Undertaker is a storyline within himself, and that's not a knock on him.
Yeah, thing. I don't I'm not good at remembering little specifics of things.
No, you had a barbell smash your head. I understand where that's coming from now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you watch a lot of wrestling now?
These days, not too much. I don't have a lot of time. I literally don't watch any of the major promotions too much anymore. What I do watch is a lot of matches of my friends.
Yep.
I see a good match of people I know, and I'll be like, oh, I have to go watch that, or I have to go find that match. I watch a lot of matches on Future Opponents. Other ladies that I follow and admire. Not so much the WWE stuff anymore.
Right.
Hardly ever.
No, one's on one's on the indies that you essentially want to work with sometime. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked a lot of cool stuff and fun stuff, and I know smashing your head is pretty embarrassing, but listen, you come out on Heelys, you come out, roller skates. Do we have any embarrassing moments of that we can talk about, or what's your most embarrassing moment in the ring?
I mean, I've fell a couple times, when I didn't mean to, of course. I haven't actually had anything happen yet with the Heelys or anything.
Okay. That's good, because I worry about that. I saw you gliding out there. I'm like, man, one little dirt spot, and I'm like, she's the Shockmaster then coming in, and I feel horrible.
So sometimes they stick a little, or I stumble a bit, but I mean, I have yet to fall. I haven't. So that's good.
That's good. What's your goals for 2024 now?
I'll be honest, I don't really have goals at this point. I'm just going to keep training and keep doing what I'm doing. I'm just having fun with it.
Yeah, and that's a goal within itself.
I guess that's a goal in itself. Just keep having fun with it and not get burnt out.
Do you have any goals to travel besides stateside? I imagine you want to cross off all 50 states, yada, 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 like every wrestler essentially does. But do you want to go to Japan? Do you want to go to Canada? Do you want to go to England or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, any of them. My thing is it's tough being a woman, though. I mean, let's be real. You can't just go off on your own without having so many things to worry about. So it's kind of one of those things, I feel like I need a buddy to go with.
Right.
But then it's hard also to get schedules aligned and all of that. But for sure, if it happens, I would love to go to Japan, and recently talked about going to Canada because I'm up here pretty close. I have a passport.
Right. A husband, enjoy going to wrestling with you, or is he like, hey, that's your own thing? Have fun at it.
No, he's a huge fan and he loves it. But the problem is like he does his stuff, I do my stuff. It's hard. We also have two dogs.
No kidding. I know. Yeah.
Yeah. We also have 2 dogs to take care of. So I have a local match, he's there. But it's really hard for him to go, when I travel to see anything like that because he's usually got to be the dog dad.
I get it. Yeah. Well, you're living the same life as me and my wife. Yes, I completely understand. Do you have a dream match that, hey, and it's dream, it's fantasy, it's whatever. If we can make it happen, we'll make it happen. But I want to know, like, where and what stipulation do you want in a match, too?
Not so much as where. I think if you told me to pick any opponent ever, I would probably pick Mickey James. Just I've gotten to be able to know her some, and she's just one of the sweetest people ever. Not to mention just an amazing wrestler and somebody I look up to. Definitely, if I could just pick any opponent, it would be her. I don't even care where.
No. And you don't care a stipulation either at that point, do you? Just
Not really.
Yeah. You have this, and again, not backhanded, you have this, roller derby thug, kind of brute once in a while. Would you do a death match? Is that ever in your calling?
So I'm okay more with the hardcore matches. I'd say to do a death match, the money has to be there. I'm not just gonna go do a death match in the indies. You know what I mean?
Right, for hot dog and handshake.
I think that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. But if the money's there, I'm for it.
Okay. All right. I ask that to a lot of people. I really do, and they're like, they give the same answer.
Bring my super glue.
Wrap that back around. That's actually, I know they do that in deathmatch. So, this is your time now. Did I forget anything that you want to announce, bring to the table, and then don't forget, give your socials, and is there merch that you would ship to people that are listening and all of that, and where are you going to be?
So I don't really have a website with merch yet, but I'm always willing to send out some 8x10s, if anybody wants to hit me up on my social media. So I do have on Facebook, I'm under Bashley Bones. On Instagram, it's Bashley110. I do respond to those messages if I see them when I can and all of that. So yeah, if you want to know what 8x10s I have available, hit me up. I have a couple Slam Buddies left. The next place you can find me, I'm headed to Memphis this coming up Sunday.
Nice. Memphis
Championship
Wrestling. Yeah, that slipped my mind. I love that place. Anytime I get to see a clip or the whole show or anything, I watch it. I love that whole feel of it.
It's a good time. They're a great locker room, and I will make that journey every so often because I do love it there.
Nice. Again, did I forget anything that you want to bring up, talk about, or anything?
Let's just throw out, if anybody in the greater Cincinnati area is looking for a place to train. Currently, I am working over at training at Hawks Wrestling Academy. So that's Cody Hawk. He has a little school that he started up and left behind. So you can definitely look us up on Facebook. We've got Ryan Michaels, the trainer there. So I'll just plug us because we definitely need some more people to come out and train with.
Yeah. I've been to one of their shows one time.
Yeah.
It's in Hamilton? Yep. Yeah, they put on a great show.
It was Future Great Wrestling they used to pair with, and they've kind of parted ways, and so now we're just in our own little building as Hawks Wrestling School or Academy.
Nice. Bashley, this has been a blast. Thank you for coming on.
Sure. Thanks for having me. It was a good time.
Hey, this is the Barbie Killer, Haley Shadows. I absolutely hate can crushers.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bashley Bones. How about those two training stories? I can't get those out of my head. From taking the suplex and having Rush fall on her, and then essentially, this one just scares me. I see Bashley sitting on top of a Hell in a Cell now, trying to do the Mick Foley, sticking her tongue through her lip. And I know she said it didn't come all the way through, but that's what it was giving me when she ate the barbell, essentially. Unbelievable. I love the stories. I do. I love hearing these stories about the transition from roller derby into professional wrestling and what it means to her, and then training with, oh my God, Crimson, Tom Latimer, Plunkett, holy smokes, just to fall into it. And again, I do want to touch on one more thing with her, but guys, radio, it still works. It still works. It's unbelievable that she just heard an ad and said, hey, I'm going to get into professional wrestling. That's the craziest story I've ever heard. Yeah, she was a fan when she was a youngster, but unbelievable. It was just a radio ad that, boom, she got into professional wrestling. Dad moments. Bashley, again, you're listening to this. I want to say thank you for sharing those stories about your mom. They were wonderful. They really were. It means so much when wrestlers come on and they're comfortable. They feel good enough to share those extra stories. And like she said, keep the memories of mom alive. And man, oh man, mom got into roller derby because of Bashley. That is so awesome. If you don't know who Bashley Bones is and you're just listening to this because you love Can Crushers, make sure you follow Bashley. She's got a ton of stuff out there. She's got a YouTube page. Make sure you follow all her socials too. Check out her matches. She's doing great things. She really is in professional wrestling. I love the whole get up and all of that. So watch her because as the kids today say, she's going to cook or she's going to put bangers out, and she does. She does. So once again, Bashley, thank you for coming on the show. Can't wait to talk to you again and see all the cool things you'll be going and doing here in the near future. Remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot. Make sure you tell your loved ones you love them, because you never know.